Once upon a time, not so very long ago, in a land not so very far away, lived a young writer by the name of Susan. She lived in a cottage deep in the wilds of Apopka, where she wrote stories filled with romance and happy endings, but also vampires, werewolves, and heroes who didn't quite know they were heroes. Her life was peaceful and happy in her cottage. But trouble was brewing. One day, our writer went for a walk into the nearby village, and was shocked and horrified at what she witnessed. Susan wanted to help, but she was no knight to defend the villagers or vanquish the villains. Her skills and strengths laid with her pen and ink, not a sword. However, the need for justice burned brightly within her. So, leaving the safety of her cottage, our intrepid writer made the perilous journey to the county of Osceola to find the Wizards' College of Valencia and seek the wisdom and knowledge within. Applying to the Wizard of Admissions, Susan explained her need to bring justice back to her peaceful village. Although she was concerned her new quest would greatly affect her love of writing. The wizard nodded his head and opened his book. "Your heart is torn in two directions, but it need not be. As an assistant to the Knights of Justice in the County of Orange, you can use your skills as a writer to ensure their justice is swiftly met. You must train and hold your skills here first, and earn your degree in order to succeed." "But I heard the school was expensive. How would I pay for this training?" Susan asked with grave concern. "It can be costly, and you must heed my warning and be careful. Dwarves and goblins control a vast majority of the land's wealth, and they are quick to lend it out. But you must be mindful and sparing with their offers. Their generosity hides a curse that does not manifest itself till much later in the form of a greater repayment. You may also seek the assistance from the king's coffers. This option is also burdened with the curse of repayment, but it is not as heavy of a burden." So our courageous writer agreed, and with the promise of repayment to the kingdom's government, she signed the Book of Admissions and began her quest for her degree in paralegal studies. "Your first class will be with the SLS sorceress, A. Santil. Listen and heed her wisdom." When Susan appeared for class, A. Santil gave her a long, thorough look, and then opened her book. Whispered words danced through Susan's mind, forming a question she wasn't sure she knew how to answer. "What is your purpose?" I'm sorry, I don't understand," she managed with a nervous croak. The sorceress sighed and looked up. "The book wants to know what you want out of life. What are your goals, your interests? What makes your soul sing?" "I love writing. I love to write. I want to create stories and share them. But I need to find a way to help my villagers. I want to help fight for justice where none seems to exist." A. Santil smiled a wicked little grin. "Then you've come to the right place. I will help guide you in the first steps of your journey." Susan found that life in the school was similar to that in her village, with various services being offered, from financial advising to student development, along with various extracurricular activities. There was even a program that would allow her to travel to faraway lands to study if she wished. The one program she found most useful was the internship services. With their help, she was able to obtain a position in the halls of justice for the County of Orange. This was the very place she wished to work in order to complete her quest. Finally, after 2 years of study, our writer obtained her degree. With her new certification and the experience she acquired working as an intern, Susan was offered a job to work for the Knights of the Court of Justice. But she did not forget those she had left behind. Susan returned to her village and showed them where they should go to seek justice for what had been done. Susan felt she was not yet done. Going back to the Wizards of Admissions, she sought their counsel once more on seeking further education. The head advisor smiled and showed her the path to the higher school of UCF, where she could obtain a bachelor's degree and even a master's degree in her field. He cautioned, as an advisor would, that a higher degree would cost more, and the curse of repayment would be a higher burden. Considering all the costs, financially, emotionally, and time-wise, Susan made the decision to take the direct connect to UCF. After all, it was surely a good sign, as their mascot was a golden knight. 4 long years of sleeplessness and study-filled nights later, Susan left the halls of UCF with a bachelor's degree. Impressed by her continued drive to increase her knowledge, the Knights of the Court of Justice promoted her to the position of paralegal, where she finally used her skills as a writer to compose the shortened versions of cases. She was glad to see that some of those very cases were people from her own village who had listened to her so long ago and were now seeking aid. 8 years after her journey began, Susan realized that not only did she accomplish her quest for justice, but she now had a vast store of knowledge to pull from, and she once again sat at her desk and began to create worlds filled with fantastical creatures. The end.